In the 1970s, scientists attempted something that had never been done before. They wanted to dig deeper into the Earth than any human had ever gone. Not into the ocean, not into caves, but directly into the Earth's crust. Their goal was simple: reach deeper than anyone in history and discover what lies beneath our planet. But what started as a scientific experiment soon became something much stranger, because the deeper they drilled, the more unexpected things they discovered. Temperatures far higher than predicted, rock formations scientists had never seen before, and conditions so extreme that even the strongest drilling equipment began to fail. Eventually, the project was abandoned. Even today, it remains the deepest hole humans have ever dug into the Earth. This incredible project was called the Kola Super Deep Borehole, and its story is one of the most fascinating scientific experiments ever attempted. For centuries, humans have wondered what lies beneath the surface of our planet. The Earth's crust is only a thin layer compared to the entire planet. But drilling deep into it is far more difficult than most people imagine. Even a few kilometers below the surface, temperatures rise dramatically, pressure becomes enormous, and rock behaves very differently than scientists expect. Yet during the Cold War, scientists in the Soviet Union decided to attempt the impossible. They would drill deeper into the Earth than any human project before. Their target was the Earth's crust itself, and their chosen location was in the far north of Russia, on the Kola Peninsula, near the border of Norway. This remote region was chosen for a specific reason. The Earth's crust there was believed to be thinner than in many other locations, which meant scientists could potentially drill deeper. The project officially began in 1970. Massive drilling rigs were constructed. Special equipment was designed to handle extreme conditions, and the scientists began their descent into the Earth. At first, progress was slow. Drilling through solid rock is incredibly difficult. Every meter requires cutting through extremely hard material. But year after year, the hole grew deeper and deeper. Eventually, the drill reached depths that no human project had ever achieved. By the late 1970s, the borehole had passed 7 kilometers deep. But the deeper the scientists drilled, the more difficult the project became, because something unexpected was happening underground. At first, scientists believed they understood how temperature would increase underground. Their models predicted moderate heat at deeper levels, but reality turned out to be very different. By the time the drill reached 10 kilometers, temperatures were already much higher than expected. The deeper they drilled, the hotter it became. Eventually, temperatures reached more than 180 degrees Celsius. That is hotter than boiling water. At these temperatures, drilling equipment began to malfunction. Metal components weakened, drill bits wore out quickly, and the rock itself started behaving strangely. Instead of remaining solid and brittle, the rock began to act almost like plastic. It bent under pressure instead of breaking. This made drilling even more difficult. But temperature was not the only surprise. Scientists also discovered something unexpected inside the rock: tiny fossils. These fossils came from microscopic plankton, creatures that lived in ancient oceans millions of years ago. Finding them at such incredible depths shocked many scientists. It meant that parts of the Earth's crust had once been ocean floor. Then, over millions of years, tectonic forces pushed those layers deep underground. Another surprising discovery involved water. Scientists had believed that deep rock layers would be completely dry. But at extreme depths, they discovered water trapped inside the rock. This water had been sealed underground for millions of years. It was not connected to any surface source. Instead, it was released from minerals under extreme pressure. This discovery changed how scientists understood underground geology. But the deeper the drilling went, the more extreme the environment became. Eventually, the project reached its greatest depth. In 1989, the Kola Super Deep Borehole reached its final depth, 12,262 meters. That is more than 12 kilometers deep. Even today, it remains the deepest hole ever drilled by humans. To understand how deep that is, imagine stacking Mount Everest upside down. The hole would still not reach the bottom. But despite this incredible achievement, scientists were forced to stop drilling. The reason was simple. The temperature had become far too high. At the deepest level, temperatures were approaching 190 degrees Celsius. The drilling equipment could no longer survive these conditions. The rock had also become too soft and unstable. Continuing deeper would have destroyed the drilling system. After nearly 20 years of work, the project finally ended. The hole was eventually sealed and abandoned. Today, the site looks surprisingly ordinary. A small metal cap covers the opening. Beneath it lies the deepest hole humans have ever created, a narrow shaft descending more than 12 kilometers into the Earth. Even though the project ended decades ago, scientists still study the data collected from the borehole, because it revealed new information about the Earth's crust. It showed that underground temperatures can rise much faster than predicted. It revealed ancient fossils buried deep within rock layers, and it helped scientists understand how water exists far below the surface. Yet even after drilling more than 12 kilometers, humans had barely scratched the surface of our planet. The Earth's crust alone can be 30 to 50 kilometers thick, which means the deepest hole ever drilled only reached a small fraction of it. Beneath that lies the Earth's mantle, a vast layer extending nearly 3,000 kilometers deeper. Reaching that layer remains one of the greatest challenges in Earth science. Perhaps someday, technology will allow humans to drill even deeper. But for now, the Kola Superdeep borehole remains one of the most extraordinary scientific achievements in history. A hole so deep that even today, no one has ever gone deeper. After nearly 20 years of drilling, the Kola Superdeep borehole project finally came to an end. The extreme temperatures made it impossible to continue. Drilling equipment simply could not survive the conditions deep underground. Eventually, the project was shut down. But the hole itself still exists. Even today, hidden in the remote Arctic landscape of northern Russia, the deepest hole ever drilled by humans remains sealed beneath a small metal cap. At first glance, the site looks surprisingly ordinary. There are no massive structures, no giant pit in the ground, just a quiet, abandoned research site surrounded by cold, northern wilderness. Beneath that small metal cover lies something extraordinary, a narrow shaft descending more than 12 kilometers into the Earth's crust. The hole itself is only about 20 centimeters wide, barely wider than a dinner plate, yet it reaches deeper into the Earth than any human-made structure in history. Over time, the drilling equipment was dismantled, buildings were abandoned, and the once busy scientific research station slowly fell silent. Today, the site is mostly forgotten. Rusting structures remain scattered across the frozen ground. Wind blows across empty buildings that once housed scientists and engineers. But far below the surface, the borehole still remains, a thin scar reaching deep into the planet, a reminder of one of the most ambitious scientific experiments ever attempted. Despite drilling more than 12 kilometers into the Earth, scientists barely scratched the surface of our planet. The Earth's crust is much thicker than many people imagine. Under continents, it can reach depths of 30 to 50 kilometers. Beneath the oceans, it is thinner, but still many kilometers deep. And below the crust lies something even more massive, the Earth's mantle. This enormous layer extends nearly 3,000 kilometers into the planet. Temperatures there are hot enough to melt rock. Pressure becomes almost unimaginable. No human technology has ever reached that depth. In fact, scientists have never directly reached the Earth's mantle. Everything we know about the deep interior of our planet comes from indirect evidence, earthquake waves, laboratory experiments, computer simulations. Even the deepest hole ever drilled represents only a tiny fraction of the distance toward the Earth's center. If the planet were the size of an apple, the Kola Superdeep borehole would barely scratch the skin. Yet despite these limitations, the project revealed incredible discoveries. Ancient microscopic fossils buried kilometers underground, water trapped deep inside rock formations, temperatures far higher than predicted. These discoveries changed how scientists understand the Earth's crust, and they proved that our planet still holds many secrets beneath its surface. Perhaps one day future technology will allow humans to drill even deeper. Maybe scientists will finally reach the mantle, or even discover entirely new geological structures hidden below. But for now, the deepest hole humans have ever created remains in northern Russia, a narrow shaft disappearing more than 12 kilometers into the darkness below. And even at that incredible depth, we have only just begun to explore the mysteries of our own planet.